Throughout history, humans have sought meaning in signs and symbols, desperately trying to understand if the universe, or more specifically, if God is trying to communicate with them. Today, we're diving deep into a question that has puzzled believers and skeptics alike. How do you truly know if something is a sign from God? The concept of divine signs has been present in virtually every culture and religion since the dawn of civilization. From ancient civilizations interpreting natural phenomena as divine messages, to modern-day individuals finding meaning in coincidences, the human desire to recognize divine communication remains constant. But in our contemporary world, where science and spirituality often intersect, how can we differentiate between mere coincidence and genuine divine intervention? First, let's address the psychological aspect of sign seeking. Our brains are naturally wired to find patterns and meaning in random events. This phenomenon, known as apophenia, can sometimes lead us to see divine messages where there might be none. It's similar to seeing shapes in clouds or faces in inanimate objects. This doesn't necessarily invalidate divine signs, but it does mean we need to approach the subject with both faith and discernment. Religious scholars and spiritual leaders across different faiths have proposed several key indicators to help identify genuine signs from God. The first and most fundamental principle is alignment with sacred texts and established religious teachings. In Christianity, for instance, any perceived sign should align with biblical principles. If a sign encourages actions that contradict religious teachings, it's likely not divine in origin. Another crucial aspect is the timing and context of the potential sign. Many people report experiencing meaningful coincidences or God winks, events that seem too perfectly timed to be random. However, it's important to note that these experiences often occur during periods of heightened spiritual awareness, or when we're actively seeking guidance. This doesn't diminish their significance, but rather suggests that our receptiveness to divine communication might play a role in recognizing signs. The nature of the sign itself is also significant. Authentic divine signs often possess certain characteristics. They tend to bring peace rather than anxiety. They often confirm what you've already been sensing in your spirit, and they typically don't force immediate, rash decisions. They're more like gentle nudges than dramatic interventions, though exceptions certainly exist in religious texts. Consider the concept of confirmation. Many spiritual advisors suggest that genuine divine signs often come in patterns of 3 or more confirmations. This could manifest as hearing the same message from different, unconnected sources, or experiencing a series of related events that point toward the same conclusion. This principle of confirmation helps protect against misinterpreting random events as significant signs. The internal response to a potential sign is equally important. Authentic divine communication typically resonates deeply within us, creating what many describe as a sense of knowing that goes beyond logical understanding. This isn't just an emotional response, but rather a profound inner certainty that often comes with a sense of peace, even if the message itself is challenging. However, it's crucial to address the role of personal desire in sign interpretation. Sometimes we might be so eager for a particular outcome that we subconsciously search for signs to confirm what we want to believe. This is where the importance of objective verification comes in. Sharing your experience with trusted spiritual advisors or mentors can provide valuable perspective and help prevent self-deception. The question of frequency is also relevant. While God can certainly communicate through signs whenever He chooses, authentic divine signs tend to be relatively rare and significant. If someone claims to receive divine signs about every minor decision in their life, it might be worth examining whether they're over-interpreting ordinary events. Modern technology and our increasingly connected world have added new layers to this discussion. Some argue that divine signs can come through social media posts, random YouTube videos, or other digital means. While this is certainly possible, it requires even more careful discernment, as these platforms are designed to create connections and coincidences through algorithms. There's also the matter of preparation and receptivity. Many spiritual traditions teach that recognizing divine signs requires a certain level of spiritual preparation. This might involve regular prayer, meditation, or other spiritual practices that help attune our awareness to divine communication. It's like fine-tuning a radio to receive clear signals rather than static. The role of community in validating signs shouldn't be underestimated. While divine communication can be deeply personal, having it recognized and confirmed by others, especially those with spiritual wisdom, can provide important validation. This doesn't mean every sign needs external confirmation, but rather that community wisdom can help in the discernment process. It's also worth noting that signs often come with responsibility. If you believe you've received a divine sign, it typically requires some form of response or action on your part. This response should be measured and wise, not impulsive or reckless. True divine guidance typically allows time for proper consideration and implementation. The concept of divine signs in our secular age presents unique challenges. We live in a world where scientific explanation and spiritual interpretation often compete for attention. However, many argue that these perspectives aren't mutually exclusive. A seemingly coincidental event can have both a natural explanation and spiritual significance simultaneously. Looking at historical examples can provide valuable insight. Religious texts are filled with accounts of divine signs, from burning bushes to dreams and visions. While modern signs might be subtler, studying these historical accounts can help us understand the patterns and principles of divine communication. The question of whether something is a sign from God ultimately requires a balance of faith, wisdom, and discernment. It's not about following a rigid formula, but rather developing spiritual sensitivity while maintaining rational judgment. This balance helps protect against both skepticism that dismisses all signs and credulity that sees signs in everything. In conclusion, recognizing divine signs requires a combination of spiritual awareness, practical wisdom, and careful discernment. While there's no foolproof method to identify divine signs, understanding these principles can help guide us in our spiritual journey. Whether you're a firm believer or a curious seeker, approaching this topic with both openness and wisdom can lead to meaningful insights about divine communication in our lives. What do you think about divine signs? Have you ever experienced what you believed to be a sign from God? How did you know it was genuine? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below, and let's continue this fascinating discussion about divine communication in our modern world.